Some of you may have heard the term UX design. Now, it's not about design in the sense of color and a pretty interface that you might see on a computer. It's about the thinking and the planning behind the design. It's about providing value to products and tools to make them better and more user-friendly. Mankind has been improving on the quality of products and tools since the dawn of time. If you think about the first tool that was used to chop wood, you might think that it could use a handle for better leverage or to prevent blisters. And then you might be thinking, oh, to chop wood more effectively, it could use a steel blade. So that is what the concept of UX design is based on. UX stands for user experience. It came about with the advent of computers when people observed other people interacting with computers. Now, you may have seen whiteboards where people start drawing out how an app or an interface is going to work out, or even a product and how it's going to get wired together or put together. And people will think about, is it going to have audio or video? But the most important criteria in a diagram like this is you need to think of the human at the center of all of that. I was part of an instructional design team where we designed learning materials for the iPad. We placed the controls, the navigation controls, at the bottom of the screen so that learners can progress through the learning. Now, because this is complex biological material, we imagined that learners would be sitting upright at a table as they progress through the learning. Well, we got feedback from the field, and we found out that because this learning was happening on the iPads at home, learners like to sit back on the couch or on their bed with the iPad in their lap. Now, it's hard to get to those navigational controls when they're nested in the folds of your belly. So with that in mind, we redesigned the interface with the controls in the middle of the screen, much like a Game Boy. Because we're in a hospital, it's appropriate to talk about medical or magnetic resource imaging, or MRI machines. Now, they aren't the most comfortable machines, particularly for a child. There's a UX designer named David Dietz who was in a hospital, and he observed a girl crying hysterically on her way to go into one of the scanners that he had designed. And it was in that moment that he understood it from the girl's perspective. Of course it's scary to go inside that tiny dark hole. So with that in mind, he went out and he consulted with a bunch of childhood specialists, and he created a new experience that's much more inviting and friendly for a child to go into. Some of you may have heard of the company OXO that creates kitchen tools. It came about because of a man named Sam Farber, whose wife was very arthritic, and she was having trouble peeling her vegetables. So he put together a bunch of prototypes, and the peeler on the right with the black handle is what OXO is known for. That's their signature look. So UX design involves a lot of research and testing to find out what works for your customers or your users. So with that in mind, OXO invited cooks into their test kitchens. Now, this measuring cup we probably all have in our homes. It's very common. Well, they observed that the cooks would pour liquid into the cup and then lift it up to see if they got the measurement right and put it back down. So they redesigned a cup with the measurements on an angle so they could be seen from standing. I should also note that in that test kitchen there were a lot of snack sit-ins. UX design is not a box that you check and then move on. It's something that you need to integrate in everything you do with all of your businesses. Dave talked about improving and having a coach. Well, you should, and you want to, not only do you go out and strive to get customers, but you want to keep them. Make it a practice to invite feedback and have surveys. At tropicalbathandbody.com, we've altered our line of soaps and then added on a new line of body butters because of the feedback we've gotten from customers. Toastmasters is rolling out with Pathways so that we can now all learn public speaking in a virtual environment. And Pathways is geared towards more modern modes of speaking and communication, such as podcasts, blogging, and conference calls. So in the name of Sound UX Design Principles, headquarters rolled out Pathways slowly by engaging just a few small testers that they called learning masters to test their assumptions. So if there's one thing I want you to take away, and that is to not make an assumption and to go out and test your designs. UX is not a buzzword. It's something that we should practice every day as we strive to improve our businesses, our tools, our products, our meetings, and our communications. Practice empathy, and always remember the humans in the center of everything you create. Thank you.